Yo, what is going on, everyone? It is your boy Pup. We are back with week 7 of the PPDL Little Cup Plus Draft League. This week we are taking on Jamal, and they have a very scary team. They're 6-0 plus 11, so passed us up for the top 2 spot. We are 5-1 plus 14 after a tragic loss last week to a crit Aquajet that wasn't even a guaranteed KO on my Delibird. Turned like a 3 or 4 win into an 0-2 loss. Really unfortunate for us. But we're going to bounce back here. If we win out, we will get a spot, just because, you know, the only 3 people that can get the buys are me, Cart, and Jamal. They're both at 6-0. I'm at 5-1. So if I beat Jamal here, then I should be in the running for that number 2 seed, which is totally fine with me. But we got to go over the teams. They have a very, very scary combination in Buizel, who's just a really strong and fast Pokemon that's pretty high up on the kill leader board, and then Murkrow, who is insanely fast and very, very strong as their Little Cup Plus Pokemon. Heat Wave is really good into my team for like Tink and makes sure that that Pokemon can't stop it, so it has that coverage. It's got Prankster if it needs to deal with any like potential Scarfers that I might want to have. It's really annoying, but it cannot, Nasty Plot cannot sub, which is really nice, just like how my Delibird cannot have Hustle, so that's its little drawback. But they have Glimmet, which is really annoying as well with T-Spikes on my team. That's why I have to bring Ekans this week. They have Riolu, which also has Prankster, but is just a really strong Pokemon as well. Dratini can Dragon Dance set up, and their Terra Captain Fuecoco is really scary. Just with Unaware, it's really tough for me to break through with like a Dragon Dance Jangmo sort of thing, even though we are bringing it this week. But it's interesting because we don't know exactly what kind of type they're going to be, so we'll see what happens there. I do feel pretty confident in my team this week. Hopefully we're going to be able to take them out. We're going to start off this week with our Delibird, who is going to be with the Focus Sash this week as a designated lead. If I lead into Murkrow, we are totally fine. We just take whatever hit they want to go for and one-shot them with Triple Axle. If we see Glimmet as the lead, we fake out plus Drill Run, and we should be able to knock them out. If we see anything else, basically we can either just straight up attack it or click Fake Out, which is free into their entire team. Only really thing I'm scared of is the potential like Terra Ghost Fuecoco to take out the Fake Out, but I don't think they do that, and if they do, then they're weak to some of my sweepers in the back, so that's totally fine by me. But we have a 17 speed on this Pokemon because we're not outrunning the 19 speeders, so we have a lot of attack investment in this Pokemon. Ice Shard is really nice to be able to pick off stuff that is low, especially that Murkrow, but potentially even, you know, the Buizel if it's really low, or the Riolu, or even the Fuecoco after a Terra. Next up on my team is going to be Finneon. We're a little bit of a different set this week. I have a lot of interesting sets this week that are not typical for me because I felt like I was running the same stuff over and over. But this week we're running another physical Finneon with an Oranberry set here, so that once we get that Oranberry activated, we can hit them with really, really hard acrobatics. It allows us one way to like pretty decently switch into the Buizel that really only has like water and ice moves, maybe like a crunch on that set as well, but we Storm Drain to soak up all those hits. You know, once they hit us down to our Oranberry, hit them very, very hard with the acrobatics. We have Flip Turn, Waterfall, and U-Turn as well on our team, which is really, really solid against them. Good speed investment on this Pokemon to be able to outspeed everything besides those top 2 on their team. And the only Pokemon I'm really worried about is Murkrow, which I can't hard switch out on, but if I click Flip Turn versus it, if they want to try to substitute on me, should be able to break that every time with a lot of attack investment. And it's just a really nice Pokemon to be able to stop something like Buizel. If they do have something like the Crocolore, or the Fuecoco, my bad, I feel like that could be Terra Water as well, so we might be able to bait a Terra Blast into, you know, any of the Pokemon on our team, basically, and be able to heal this Pokemon up. Or I guess it gives us a special attack boost, I don't really know. But yeah, it's still just a solid Pokemon in the game, and hopefully it's going to be there to stop that Buizel. Next up is going to be our Terra Ground Jangmo. We are a Dragon Dance plus Iron Defense set, which is really, really good once Fuecoco is gone, or if it's a Terra type that I hit really hard. We have Terra Ground Earthquake, which just hits like a truck, but if they're like Terra Grass or something, it's going to be really hard to break through them because I know that they're probably going to be like Will-O-Wisp Slack Off sort of set like that. But this, I mean, it breaks through basically the rest of the team. They have a really hard time dealing with it, especially Eevee, fully specially defensive, so we take like Air Slashes from the Murkrow with no problem at all. It also takes, you know, the hits from Fuecoco decently if they're not running like a Will-O-Wisp sort of set. I thought about running like sort of rest stuff, but it doesn't really beat it anyways with that unaware Pokemon. So hopefully I'm going to be able to beat it with other stuff on my team. But it's still solid. Once we get to +1 with the Dragon Dance, we should outspeed their entire team. And we have a lot of special defense investment, like I said. With Iron Defense, I mean, we just get really bulky enough that we don't really mind. Even the Weasel attacking us doesn't really do too much with Eviolite at +2. My fourth Pokemon on the team is going to be Tinkatink, another Eviolite Pokemon. I have ran it as Pickpocket Oranberry for every single week that I've brought it, but this week we were Eviolite Mold Breaker. With Swords Dance, we can actually break through the unaware on the Fuecoco. Play Rough is just insanely strong versus their team. Their resists are basically Glimmet, which gets wrecked by Metal Claw and also probably goes at the beginning of the game. And then they have Fuecoco, which if they tear it out of that typing, then we hit them really hard anyways. But Knockoff is really nice to knock off the Eviolite on that Pokemon. And we should be able to always, just super easily be able to eat any fire type move, because we are, naturally very specially defensive, and we have that Eviolite for a lot of bulk. And once we get to +2, I mean, there's nothing really that wants to take me on. We're max speed on this set, so we're slower than the Murkrow and the Weasel. But Murkrow, I don't even think they one-shot me with Heat Wave, since we are Eviolite on this set. So we're in a pretty decent spot to just be able to break through their team if we're ever able to get off a free Swords Dance. After that, we have two Choice Scarfers on our team, the first one being Ekans with a Choice Scarf Switcheroo, which is nice into that Fuecoco, get rid of an Eviolite, make it a little bit more crippled, so we're able to set up and sweep against it with the rest of our team. But we have max speed on this Pokemon just so it hits the same speed as Tinkatink. But basically, once we get rid of the Choice Scarf with Switcheroo, we're still outspeeding a lot. We have Earthquake, which hits stuff like Fuecoco before a Terra. It hits the Glimmet very hard. Gunk Shot basically hits the rest of their team, and they don't have a great switch in. We also have Glare, which is really nice into like a Weasel or a Murkrow to make sure that their speed is really tampered with. It also is nice into Fuecoco, which means that we might be able to get away with, not getting hit by Will-O-Wisp on some of our sweepers, maybe them not being able to slack off, us being able to beat them 1v1 with this Pokemon. Intimidate's also pretty nice in this game against like the Buizel, against Riolu, against Dratini if they're trying to set up and sweep versus me, so this Pokemon was a no-brainer bring. And the last Pokemon on my team is going to be Piplup, another Choice Scarf variant. It worked decently well in the last game. If the Wattrel was not Eviolite, we would have been able to just blow it up with Hydro Pump. Maybe Torrent would have been better, and maybe it is again this week. But we are competitive again, just in case we do end up getting our stats dropped by anything on their team. Maybe like I don't even know. If I'm going to be honest, I don't even know what they could do to drop my stats. Maybe a Liquidation from Weasel or something. So if we switch in on that, get the +2, we absolutely could just sweep them on the spot. But really strong into their team, forces the Fuecoco out of their fire typing, which is nice for the rest of my team, especially Tinkatink. But Hydro Pump, Flip Turn, Surf, Ice Beam is there as well. We probably won't click it in the game, but it's there in case they're like Terra Grass or even Terra Dragon. I think is a solid choice for Fuecoco, although into the face of Tinkatink and Delibird, I'm not 100% sure if they would go for that. But it's really nice for those options. Also for the Dratini, it hits the Murkrow a little bit harder, and if we need to get some Ice Beam freezes, then I am definitely not I guess I'm not above that at all, because after last week we got hacked out. We need to win. I mean, we're in the playoffs no matter what, but I'd really like to get this bye, especially, it's my league. I want to finish at the top of the leaderboards. Doesn't look like we're going to be number 1 because Cart has been dominant with their Porygon all season long, but we could be number 2, so let's take on Jamal. Hopefully we're going to be able to beat them, and yeah, let's get right into the battle. Alright everyone, we are here for Week 7 against Jamal. We do see a team that's a little bit interesting with the COSMOG on them. Like, that Pokemon, it really doesn't do anything. It literally just has Teleport and Splash. This is post-com because my capture card has been screwed up and I've been, working through new ways. I just got the new capture card, so I'm recording on it, but I accidentally messed up the audio, so that's just how it is. But COSMOG is really scary. They do have the Sandshrew. Fuecoco is a really good Pokemon into my team, but I feel really confident into the rest. We're just going to lead Delibird because that's our designated lead. Focus Sash basically does not matter what we get hit with, but we would love to see Glimmet. We Fake Out plus click a Drill Run into that Pokemon because I assume it's going to be Focus Sash lead if it is, as we do see the Glimmet come out here, which is really nice for us. So we're going to be able to get that chip. It's going to put some toxic debris on our side, which is a little bit annoying, but it's not the end of the world, especially when we have an Ekans in the back that can easily soak it up. So we're not in a horrible spot off the bat. I mean, this is exactly what we wanted. We want to click Fake Out versus them. We want to click Drill Run after that. And only reason that they would stay in is if they're definitely Focus Sash, because they know we have Drill Run. They know it's going to hurt. We have a great chance to one-shot them from full unless they're very, very max Fizz Def, and even then it's still a roll. And at this point, after just 1 or 2 points of damage versus them, we should have enough damage to always be able to take them out, no matter what kind of defense investment they have. So, that's just the power of Delibird, even without Hustle, going absolutely crazy. And they don't have a good switch in to this move at all. I mean, it's a ground type move. They could switch into Murkrow here, but the rest of their team gets absolutely murked by a Drill Run. They don't have a good switch in. I also could predict it, click Triple Axle. I could click Brave Bird versus them, so they don't really have something that wants to come out here. A great play would be the Murkrow on the obvious Drill Run, though, but it is very risky, as they're going to go out to count Olaf, and that is going to be the Murkrow. So they made a really good play there, but this is kind of how the game went in my head. Leading up to it, this is exactly what I prepped for. I am Focus Sash, so I can take a Heat Wave. They're going to miss it. Would have knocked me down to the Sash no matter what. Only thing that could have been nice for them would be a burn. But, we do end up hitting all 3 of our triple axles, and they missed, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. Even if they had hit and got the burn, we would have still been in a decent spot. Being able to take them down to just barely any HP, and then being able to revenge kill them with either of my Scarfers, probably Piplup, very, very easily. So now we're in a spot where we still have a full HP Delibird, and we've taken out their Little Cup plus Pokemon. We're just in a great spot at this point. But they are going to switch out into the Fuecoco. Makes a lot of sense. I mean, obviously, it's going to be some sort of Terra type that's annoying for me to deal with. I assume it's going to be more physically defensive on this, and be Slack Off, Will-O-Wisp, Flamethrower, maybe Terra Blast. There's a ton of Terra types that work really well. We're just going to switch out to Ekans. We can get a Glare or a Switcheroo off on them to start it off, but they're just going to go for the Flamethrower. It does a ton of damage to me, and I'm put in a pretty tough spot where I have to pick, do I really want to Switcheroo, give them that Scarf, or do I want to Glare them, potentially be able to get some para hacks on them or make them slow throughout the game. It could be nice for beating them down 1v1, but they do choose to switch out here, so Glare was definitely the right choice. They're going to go out to I Got Hawk, which is going to be the Sandshrew. Making sure this thing is slow and not able to sweep me, or not really able to do too much against me, is really nice, because it could be a big threat with Sword Stance plus a Rapid Spin to boost its speed. I do have Delibird, but if they click Rock Blast here, then I'm just screwed. And I would also feel bad if they clicked a move that wasn't Earthquake and they'd just be able to kill me if I had gotten down to that Focus Sash earlier. So my only real switch is Jangmo here, because everything else gets wrecked by Earthquake. Obviously, Rock Blast against Delibird. So we're going to go out to the Jangmo. We're Eviolite, so we shouldn't take too much damage from any attack that they want to go for. Should be pretty fine. I'm most worried about Sword Stance, but they're going to go for Knockoff, get a big crit there. It does show that they're basically max attack adamant on this Pokemon. And one more, just any EQ from them will knock me out. Even if I click Iron Defense, there's a good chance that I just get knocked out anyways. So, if I want to go for that, I guess I could go for some para hacks, but it doesn't even make that much sense after losing the Eviolite. If we didn't get crit there, we would have been in range. Maybe could have clicked Iron Defense, or I think we could have clicked Iron Defense if we didn't get it. Hope for some para luck versus them and just be a little bit better off. But at this point, the only play is just clicking Terra Ground EQ, get a decent amount of damage off on this guy, make sure that it's always in range of Delibird, because this thing is very, very bulky with the Eviolite. And I'm pretty sure I know where both the Eviolites are in this game. We saw it wasn't on Murkrow. It's for sure got to be on Fuecoco and probably this Pokemon, so we get to scout that out a little bit. And we are going to see that it definitely is, I think. Honestly, I'm not even sure at this point. Maybe I was more sure during the game, where I gave my actual commentary, but then I screwed up the audio, so that's just how it is. They're gonna kill my Jangmo here. We get a free swap out to Delibird. Obviously, if we were at 1 HP, this would be a little bit of a different story. Maybe be scared of a quick attack sort of thing. I'm not even sure if that Pokemon gets it. We get a completely free triple Axle off versus their team. Even if they want to send in Fuecoco, it's taking a decent amount of damage and basically forced to Terra. It's actually crazy that they didn't Terra the first time versus the Ekans. A great play by them. They're just a great player. But we are going to triple axle. We get 1 hit, we get 2 hits, and we get 3 hits. So we're in a good spot there. No rock blast going to be able to knock me out there. And Delibird is just really looking strong in this end game. Doesn't mind the T-Spikes if they ever get up from Lamora, but we don't want the rocks from them at all. They bring out Weasel. We have an easy counter to this Pokemon being Finneon. We are Storm Drain, which raises our special attack, which might scare them. We don't have special attacks on the set. Maybe would have been a little bit better in this game to be a special attacking set. Being able to click Hydro Pump or Surf versus their team at +1 would be really strong. But they do have a Fuecoco that's potentially like Terra Grass or Terra Water or Terra Dragon or something. That'll just be able to resist it anyway, so not too big of a deal. I like the set that we have with Oranberry Acrobatics. But Waterfall looks really free versus their team since they have not Terra'd Fuecoco if they would want to switch out to that thing. So we just get the free switch. They're going to go into Cosmog, their secret weapon, and I'm thinking that maybe this Pokemon would have an Eviolite as well, but no, they're just going to be eject button, which makes a ton of sense. That's just a great prep right there. They're max physically defensive with the eject button, getting a free swap out to the Fuecoco, and this just screams Terra Grass, being able to click Terra Blast. So we're just going to click U-turn. If we're able to get down to our acrobatics, then we would be able to destroy this thing. Because they show to be Terra Water, so they're not even Terra Grass, so I didn't have to be that scared. I guess Terra Electric could have been good into me as well. But we're going to get this nice little fast U-turn off, very fast into their team, which is really nice for me. But I don't have the best switches, obviously. Piplup or Ekans are kind of what I have to go into. Ekans is already, wanting to throw off maybe the switcheroo or maybe just doing some damage versus them. But I assume that we're going to see Will-O-Wisp off this turn, which we do. We do dodge with the Ekans, which is very unfortunate for them. But I could just, switcheroo off of this Pokemon, basically stack it off. But at this point, instead of switcherooing, I think that they're going to go sack the Cosmog, and if I just gave that thing a free Choice Scarf, I'm kind of crippling myself at this point. So I do click the Gunk Shot. They are going to switch out to Cosmog, and we miss a Gunk Shot. Because of course we do. They missed a Willow, they missed a Heat Wave. It is what it is. We are faster, and they don't have any attacking moves anyways. We're just going to be able to one-shot Cosmog. I think that was a roll. Didn't really matter because they would have got the teleport free switch anyways. Maybe it would have been nice to have an extra sack in the back, but I think in this endgame it definitely did not end up mattering. But Ekans, looking very strong versus the rest of their team. Even if they bring out Weasel, we have a shot if they're no bulk at all to one-shot them with the Gunk Shot. So I'm actually just sitting in a great spot with this. It's not the best roll. It's definitely not in our favor, but getting off that damage is really nice. They're going to go out to I Got Tua. And at this point, I'm just going to click the button. This Pokemon has probably overstayed its welcome. But if I were to go out to potential Finneon here and they double, I could get put in a pretty bad spot because they are going to pull that double, trying to bait in the Finneon. So I respect this play a ton. And I thought that they would go out to Glimmet here. But they're just going to go out to Fuecoco. We're going to get a Gunk Shot off on them. And now they're at 50%. I really just want to keep this thing low, so I have to try to hit another Gunk Shot. We do hit another one. They're pretty low, and they get poisoned, which is just great for us. This is an insane turn of events. After the hacks that we went through last week, getting crit max rolled on Aqua Jet. Really nice to have it go in my favor for once. We're going to go out to Piplup here since it seems like they can't touch me. Even if they Terra Blast, Water, Flamethrower, or Will-O-Wisp, Piplup does not care one bit about it all. And they are going to withdraw. So that's totally fine by me. They're going to go out back into the Glimmet. So, we're in a good spot. At this point, I have a choice. If they want to switch out to either of their other Pokemon, the obvious play is to click Flip Turn versus them. I can also click Surf, which one-shots this thing. Hydro Pump would do a little bit more damage. And be kind of the more mid-ground, but if we miss, we're in a tougher spot. But it's not the end of the world no matter what. I'm sitting in a really good spot. I just really don't want the Finneon to get poisoned. They do end up staying in, and we crit them with the Flip Turn, which may have mattered. They were pretty close to full HP. It depends on if they had any bulk investment at all. Then they would have been able to live. If not, it was a roll to be able to knock it out anyways, I'm pretty sure. So, maybe it did matter in that game. Definitely does not matter for, the end results. We can just go, potentially at that point, we would go out to Tinkatink and be able to click Sword Stance and be able to sweep them. With the Fuecoco being so low at this point. Or I guess it's not even that low, but unable to do too much. We're going to go out to Ekans now. We absorb those T-Spikes, and they're going to go back out to the Fuecoco. So yeah, at 50%, if we got a Sword Stance up, all we had to do was hit a play rough. We're going to switcheroo onto this Fuecoco now, finally dump off our Choice Scarf, which is great for us. If they choose to lock into Willow or Slack Off, we're in a good spot, as they do choose to lock into Slack Off. So this thing's very healthy now, max HP. But, I mean, they can't touch us this next turn. I could throw off a free gunk shot if I wanted, but I think going out to Finneon is just going to be a little bit better because the rest of their team cannot break through it at all. And I just get a head start on, you know, I would switch out anyways in the next turn. And I'd like to get this thing going with its acrobatic set before we get Will-O-Wisp or potential, you know, Flamethrower burn, because that's kind of their out. If I do end up staying in, and you know, we just have a bunch of 50-50s to lose differential. But their best way to hit us is Ice Spinner. They don't have Crunch, they don't have Brick Break or anything like that they could commonly run. I'm actually a little bit surprised not to see something like Brick Break to cover some, you know, potential madness on my team. Terra Steel looked pretty solid into them. I mean, I guess Wave Crash would have done a ton of damage. But they're going to just keep clicking Ice Spinner. They have their own Oran Berry, which is going to prolong it a little bit. We get a crit. It doesn't really matter. As you're going to see, next turn, we're not even going to be able to knock them out with the acrobatics, even after being doubled. So it doesn't really matter. But the one thing that I'm, you know, kind of confused about is how are we outspeeding this guy? They just have no speed investment on their Weasel at all. Like, literally none. Because I mean, we're just at 17 speed. This thing maxes out at 18. So even if they're adamant, they'd be outrunning me. But I guess they didn't. We're going to have a boosted acrobatics here. Able to take out the Weasel. And Finneon's just going to pick up a nice little mini sweep versus them. Even if they had Glimmet still at this point in the game, if it didn't get crit, we would have been completely fine. A T-Spike would have been annoying for me for sure. But if we got this Pokemon in before or, you know, around it, we would have been totally fine no matter what. Now this guy's locked into Flamethrower. A crit or a burn could, you know, save him a differential point here. But at that point, I would probably just switch hard out to Delibird to get another kill for that Pokemon. But we don't get crit, we don't get burned, and Finneon is going to pull through, be able to take out this Terra Fuecoco. We're going to pick up a 5-0 victory against the second best team in the league. It feels really nice to be back and get some luck in my favor after last week's shenanigans, getting high roll crit by the Aqua Jet from Totodile. Really tough to see, but I mean, we're probably going to get a rematch versus Jamal, and it's really, really hard to win rematches. I hate rematches. You saw me lose to Crep in the BBR D-League quarterfinals, which was a really tough loss for me. But you know, I hate the rematches. Hopefully we don't actually end up having to play them again, but it might happen, and they're definitely going to come back with some vengeance. But if you guys do enjoy the Little Cup plus Draft League content, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe. But that's about it for me. See you guys in the next one. Peace out.